Okay, everybody can hear me? All good? Yeah. Okay, so thanks very much for joining us on this webinar. I've been working with Kambo myself, receiving Kambo for about 7 or 8 years now, and I've been giving Kambo as a practitioner to other people for nearly 2 years, I think, 18 months. So it's a great privilege to work with Kambo. It's an amazing medicine. It's done amazing things for me. And we as a team, we get a huge amount of benefit ourselves when we facilitate for other people. So it's a real, as I said, it's a real privilege to work with this medicine. And hopefully today I can share some insights and help you to understand a little bit about what Kambo is about. So what we're going to cover today, I'll just briefly go over the scope of this webinar. It's going to be, I'm going to speak about the benefits of Kambo to begin with. Then I'm going to go over the 3-stage process of what Kambo actually does, and that's the reset, the restore, and the revive. So I'm going to go into a little bit of detail about those and explain what I mean by those terms. Then I'm going to actually explain what Kambo is and where it comes from. Some of you might not actually know what Kambo is. You may have just heard about it, but you don't really know what it is. Then I'm going to explain how it's taken, so how the medicine's actually applied. And then at the end, we're going to do the Q&A where you guys get a chance to ask me any questions or discuss anything that you'd like to talk about to do with Kambo. So the first section, the first thing I want to talk about is the benefits of Kambo. Now, Kambo is one of the strongest natural anti-inflammatory, antibiotic, antifungal, antimicrobial, and anesthetic substances on the planet. Now, I can actually personally attest to this because when I've had problems with my lower back and I've had a lot of chronic back pain, whenever I use Kambo, it completely gets rid of the pain for pretty much the rest of the day. So Kambo has these amazing natural properties, and because it comes from a frog and it's the secretion of a frog, essentially the secretion works on the frog's skin to protect it from funguses and microbes. So that's where these amazing natural properties come from. It acts as a detoxifier, so it clears out your liver and your intestines. It's a really deep cleanse. There's not many more deep cleanses you can do than Kambo. It acts to improve cognitive function, so you're going to notice improvements in your thinking. You're going to think more clearly and more quickly in the time after Kambo. It's really good for removing emotional blocks. It's extremely powerful on an energetic level. So often when you take Kambo and you're purging, there can be lots of emotions that will come out as well. So there can be crying. I mean, I myself have cried on many occasions when I've taken Kambo, and it's not because of physical pain. It's because whatever emotions I'm going through at the time when I take Kambo, what Kambo will do is it will amplify them to make you really feel them in order so you can release them. Not only that, but Kambo is an amazing immune system boost. And I'll go into this in a bit more detail later on. But yeah, Kambo is incredible for the immune system. And it also, this is something we figured out recently, it's really good for women for menstrual cramps. So if you time Kambo right, it can completely relieve the pain associated with menstrual cramps. And that's something that my girlfriend Lucia, who you saw earlier, she gets amazing benefit in that respect. And a little bit later on in the webinar, I'm sure Lucy wouldn't mind speaking about that. So I'll talk now about the 3-stage process of Kambo, and that's the reset, the restore, and the revive. Now, the reset is the full body detox and cleanse. So the way Kambo works is it's the venom from this sapo tree frog, and in the venom you have what's called neuropeptides, and these neuropeptides communicate with the brain through the lymphatic system. Now, you might be wondering what a neuropeptide is, so I'm going to read you a description of what a neuropeptide is. They're small protein-like molecules that are used by neurons in the brain to communicate with each other. So they are neuronal signaling molecules that influence the activity of the brain and the body in specific ways. So essentially, the Kambo has these neuropeptides, and the neuropeptides are able to communicate with the brain, and then the brain will make changes within the body, and that's how Kambo works. So what do these neuropeptides do? Well, there are specific ones that work to help with the purge and the detox. And what they'll do is they'll cause a contraction of the smooth muscle in the gut. So the smooth muscle are the muscles in the body that you don't have voluntary control over. And that's to do with digestion and things like that. So there's one called folimedeucin, which is a particular neuropeptide, and that's going to cause contraction of the smooth muscle in the gut, and that's going to stimulate the whole of your bowels and your digestive system. So it creates this purgative effect, and that's how Kambo will detox your body. Then what happens is when Kambo is applied and the digestive system is stimulated and the liver is stimulated, you're going to get nausea. So during the Kambo process, part of the process is it's going to make you feel a bit sick, and that's how it works. So Kambo is very, very powerful, but with most things that are powerful and healing, while you're having the treatment, it can make you feel a little bit sick. So there is nausea associated with Kambo. So what's happening there is Kambo stimulating your digestive system. It makes you feel nauseous, and then the body will release its toxins. Now, the toxins are coming primarily from the liver, and what the liver does is it clears out the bile. So bile is something in our body. It's a yellow liquid that we use to digest fat, but a lot of toxins get stored in the bile. And when you take Kambo and you have a Kambo purge, the body releases all of those toxins. It releases all of the bile in one go. So part of the purging process is to clear the bile, release the toxins, and then after that, the body will naturally produce more bile. So essentially, you're just releasing toxins from the body and allowing the body to create more bile naturally. So also, there's an energetic clearing that happens with Kambo. So there's something called panema. And I'm sure most of you have never heard of the term panema. But panema is something that the indigenous tribes, it's a name the indigenous tribes use for negative or dark energy. So it manifests as bad luck or depression or confusion. So the indigenous really believe in this negative energy called panema. And what Kambo does is not only does it work on a physical level, so it clears you out, detoxifies you, but it's clearing you on a metaphysical level. So when you're actually purging on Kambo, not only are you purging physical liquid like physical bile, but you're also purging energy. And when you take Kambo, you can really feel this. So as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to emotional clearing, when you're purging energetic, emotional stuff. So Kambo really clears you on a metaphysical level, and it lifts this panema, it lifts this negative energy, this bad luck. So when the indigenous take Kambo, they're really taking it to lift panema, to remove negative energy, and then this will remove any obstacles that you have in your life. And then the third part of the reset process, this is the healing power of doing things in a traditional group ceremony. So when the indigenous tribes take Kambo, they take it as a whole tribe. Before they go hunting, they use Kambo so that they're going to be more powerful when they hunt. And the tribes use Kambo as a group, and the whole tribe partake in Kambo, including the women and the children. And what this will do is it makes the whole group more open to social bonding. There's actually some research that's gone into this, and when a group of people go through a difficult experience together, it actually helps to really bond those people. It's almost like it creates a social glue that brings these people together. So whenever you take Kambo, you take it in a ceremony, the people that you take it with, you're going to feel a bond with them after. It's a sort of weird quirk of human behavior. But I don't know if any of you guys have ever been through something, been through a difficult experience with a group. You really do find you get a bond with these people. And I know that whenever I've gone to any kind of event, be it to do with medicine or a therapeutic group, whatever it is, especially when you spend a lot of time with these people, the different activity that you do, or the activity that you do, is always different. But the one thing that's constant is you always fall in love with the people. Whenever you go to an event like this, you form a real bond with the people. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what activity you do. but you go there as strangers and you come away from it with feeling like you've known these people your whole life. It's a strange phenomenon. And this is something that you'll get with Kambo. When you go to a ceremony, you're going to experience a real bond, a real powerful bond with the people that you do the ceremony with. So the next phase of the Kambo process is the restore. So the reset was the purging. Now the restore are the immediate after effects. So this is what you're going to get straight after the Kambo, after you take Kambo, and for up to 2 weeks after. So the first thing is the post-Kambo Zen. And this is a really calm, almost stoic meditative state that you get straight after you take Kambo. So within 10 to 20 minutes of having finished the Kambo process and you've purged, you're going to feel this calm wash over you. It's quite a profound state. A lot of people find they can go into quite deep states of meditation straight after Kambo. And I can attest to that. It's a really powerful, calm feeling that you get. And this is due to the deltorphins and the dermorphin, which are the peptides. And these have an analgesic effect on the brain, which is actually 4,000 times stronger than morphine. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, whenever I've had chronic back pain and I've taken Kambo, instantly it's gone. So Kambo is extremely powerful in that respect, in that it gives you this calm. It actually acts on the opioid receptors in the brain. So it's a calm, almost euphoric state that it puts you into after. And it's really, really pleasurable. It's almost like the calm after the storm, that you go through this process, which can at times be quite difficult. And then at the end of it, you get this wonderful euphoric calm that washes over you. And this can last for several hours, actually, after the process. And then you always have an amazing night's sleep. Straight the day of the Kambo, that night when you go to bed, you have a fantastic sleep and you wake up the next day and you're totally refreshed. So the second part of the restore process is the heightened senses and improved cognition and mental focus. So people often feel supercharged for an extended period after they take Kambo. So this is not only being physically supercharged, this is mentally supercharged. You get a sharp, clear mind, more decisive thinking, ability to think really quickly and clearly while under stress. And as you can imagine, this is why the indigenous like to use this medicine before they hunt, because it's really great for them, because not only are they using it to lift panema, to remove bad luck, but it makes them mentally quicker. It makes them able to hunt in a more effective way. And there are lots of reasons for this effect. So obviously, as I mentioned earlier, you have the panema that's lifted. There's the detox of the body. So when your body's detoxed, there's more oxygen in your blood, increased blood flow, more oxygen going to the brain. And this is going to help to give you sharper vision, clearer hearing, sharper reflexes. So Kambo is really good to use whenever you need a boost. So I notice it straight after. For me, the same day and the day after Kambo, I'm really sharp. Like everything's super sharp. My vision's super sharp. My hearing's super sharp. So this is just a temporary boost that you get from Kambo. The next part. So this is part 3 of the restore phase, and this is the boost of the physical prowess. And this can be increased strength, increased libido, and also increased romantic opportunity. So I notice this myself when I take Kambo and then I go to the gym. I have more explosive strength. Like really, it's quite profound actually, especially if I've been using Kambo over a period of time. Sometimes I like to take Kambo in small doses. We call it microdosing, and I'll take Kambo every day for maybe 10 days and then finish it with a full Kambo purge on the 11th day. And during that time, I really notice that I'm physically stronger in the gym. I recover quicker. I'm able to lift more weights. It's pretty powerful. Now, many users also report an increase in libido. So your sex drive is going to increase. Now, as I explained earlier, Kambo works to detox the body, it's increasing blood flow, and it's reducing stress and anxiety. So those peptides are working on your brain to reduce stress, to calm you down. There's more blood in your body, and you're in a detox state. So all of these things are going to attribute to to feeling good and to having an increased sex drive. So that's the restore part of the Kambo process. That's the immediate effects that can last up to 2 weeks. And then we have the revive, which are the long-term effects of Kambo. So the first thing that it does for me, and this is for me the most important thing, and the main reason that I take Kambo, is it gives you a bulletproof immune system. It's incredible what it does. So ever since I started taking Kambo, this is whatever it was, 7 or 8 years ago, I don't get sick anymore. I literally never get sick. I used to get colds and flus and throat infections, you know, like everybody else. And when I started working with Kambo, it just stopped, literally just stopped. And I was just thinking, there's something special going on here. You can take a medicine that can do that for you and do it consistently. Then clearly it's doing something very good for you. And I don't even think about it now. I used to, when I'd be on the tube, like on the train, and I'd be sitting next to someone who's sick and they're coughing, and I'd have to move, or I'd be really worried about catching germs off other people. Now I don't even think about it. Like, I really don't. I just don't get sick anymore. It's amazing, actually. So another thing that I mentioned earlier is the menstrual cramps and period pain that it completely relieves. So Lucia, would you be okay to just briefly talk about that?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Hang on, let me just mute myself.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
Yeah, so basically, since I was teenage, I terribly suffered when first day of my period came. Literally, I couldn't get out of my bed, and I've been using painkillers like everyone else. But after, I don't know, 5 years, it just wears off. I became immune against those painkillers. So I was suffering a good few years. And since I done my first Kambo, I realized that the period cramps, they are very mild, almost none. I would say it went from 100% pain to just 30-40%. So it eased a lot. And I probably knew it's a Kambo, and then I done a little bit of research, and I found that more girls, they experience less painful periods after using Kambo. So I'm pretty sure it really helps. I'm not saying it helps 100% everyone, but I talk enough people, enough girls, and 70% of them, they really mention that since Kambo, the cramps, they're almost gone. For me, the more I use Kambo, the more whole period more pleasant. Is not pleasant really, but bearable. And yeah, I encourage everyone who suffers every month, every girl, they should really do that, because on Kambo you feel sick maybe 20-30 minutes, and it really pays off. If you want to have pain-free period, you should really do Kambo. Actually, it wears off after time, so I think you should repeat Kambo every 4 to 6 weeks ideally. I know it's not a pleasant process, but it's better than suffer every month.
Thanks, Lucia.
You
Done, yeah? Okay, cool. Great. Okay, so the next thing, part of the long-term benefits of Kambo is the healing of chronic autoimmune and other health conditions. Now, there are countless stories of people who have healed their chronic health conditions through using Kambo. I'm not going to list them all now, but obviously the detox, the increased blood flow, and the powerful effect that it has on the immune system, essentially what it's doing is it's correcting a compromised or an overactive immune system. So a lot of chronic conditions are caused by either an immune system that's underactive, in that it's not working properly in that respect, in that it's not protecting you, or it's overactive. So for example, when you have things like eczema, psoriasis, inflammatory skin conditions, that's where your immune system is attacking the skin, so it's overactive. And what Kambo does is it regulates the immune system, so it can work on both sides of that, whether you have an underperforming immune system or whether you have an overperforming immune system. Kambo helps to get that back into balance, and it helps to regulate it. So there, like I said, you can look for yourself online, and if you just Google Kambo autoimmune conditions, you can read so many stories of people that have fixed their eczema, psoriasis, all of these different skin conditions, gut conditions. It's such a powerful medicine, and yeah, it's just wonderful. The amount of people that it's helped. People that have come to Planet Kambo with a particular condition, we've given them a course of Kambo, and then lo and behold, it's healed whatever condition they have. Difficult times, it empowers your whole being to perform at its best. So if you're going through a stressful time in your life, if you've got difficult things going on at work, then Kambo is a wonderful medicine to use. Or maybe you're a sportsman and you've got a big sporting event coming up where and you're worried about performing, and it's quite stressful. Then again, Kambo is an amazing medicine to use. So that's the reset, the restore, and the revive, the 3 stages of the Kambo process. But now I'm actually going to explain to you what Kambo is. So some of you might have heard about it, but you don't actually know what Kambo is. So Kambo is the waxy, poisonous secretion of the Polymedusa tree frog, as we call it, the Kambo frog. It comes from the Amazon jungle, and it's harvested by indigenous tribesmen. So there are a few different tribes that use Kambo, the main one being the Matsis tribe. They're really the masters of Kambo. And the way that they harvest it is they go to the area where the Kambo... That was my mouse dropped on the floor, sorry. They go to the area where the Kambo frogs are, which is usually down by the rivers. And then the tribesmen will actually imitate the sound of the Kambo frog. So they're very skilled at this. They make the sound of the frog to attract the frogs. And the frogs are really friendly because they don't have any natural predators, because they've got this poison on them and they're very brightly coloured. Animals, like predators, won't go near them. So they attract the frogs, and then they harvest the venom from them. And they do it in a very careful way. So the frogs are tied. They're tied, their arms and legs are tied, but it's done very carefully so the frogs aren't harmed. And then the frogs are stimulated, so they produce this poisonous secretion. And then the tribesmen scrape the secretion from the frog, and they put it onto a flat stick. And then that's left to dry, and that's called a Kambo stick. And then when Kambo is going to be used, we take one of these Kambo sticks, we wet it down slightly, so then the dried venom becomes almost like a waxy sort of resin. And then we use a knife, and sorry, I'm just getting a couple of things coming up about this.
We got 10 minutes.
Oh, we've got 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, I just got an alert. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah. Sorry, explain what, Dave?
Just the time limit.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we have a time limit using this software. So I'm going to quickly finish up, and then we'll do the Q&A. So as I said, Kambo's on the flat stick, wet it down so it becomes like a resinous, and then we use a knife to apply it to people. So now I'm going to explain quickly how Kambo's taken. So the first thing is fasting. When you take Kambo, you have to take it on an empty stomach. You have to be fasted for a good 8 hours before you take Kambo. Ideally, fasting from the night before if you can. Then water. Before you take Kambo, when you come to the ceremony, you bring 3 or 4 litres of water with you. And then just before you take the medicine, we ask you to drink 2 litres of water, so you have something in your stomach to purge. So Kambo is a purging medicine, and if you're fasted, you need something in your stomach as a medium to get the toxins out. So we ask you to drink 2 liters of water just before you take the medicine. Then the way you take the medicine is we use incense sticks, and we make a very, very light burn on the skin. And this is called a gateway. So you take a stick and you make a series of these burns on the skin, and it's just the top layer of skin that comes off. So the dermis underneath is exposed, and then the Kambo is applied on that wound, on those wounds. And depending on what kind of person you are, some people need more points than others. Men tend to need more than women. But generally, for a woman, it's 3 points we start with, and for a man, it's 5, and then we go from there. And then you go through the Kambo process, and this will obviously involve the purge. There's some other things as well. Emotional feelings can come up. Lots can come up on Kambo. And then you have your purge. So that's the Kambo process in a nutshell. So I'd like to now do the Q&A. So if any of you guys have any questions, anything you'd like to discuss, then please raise your hand. If you go to the bottom of the screen, you should have something that says participants. Hang on a sec. Where is it? Yeah, if you click participants, then you have an option. You see you have an option to raise your hand. You see that?
Someone's written something in the chat box.
Hang on, just 1 sec.
Bottom right.
Yeah, I've lost it now. Hang on, participants.
It's bottom right.
Yeah, but it's gone. Whoops.
Okay. I mean, you're
based on your experience, what difference is between receiving Kambo on the different parts of your body? That's a good question. So I find the closer it is to the heart, the stronger it is. So you can generally the men will take Kambo on. You can see there's got some scars there. Men take Kambo on the arm traditionally. That's how the indigenous do it, and women will take it on the lower leg. But you can take Kambo on lots of different places on the body, and this is especially something that we started doing in the West, in the Western world. Is we're looking into ways to use Kambo more effectively. So putting it on acupuncture meridians, putting it on chakra points. So really, it's about the intention that if you, for example, are dealing with an emotional problem in your life, you could put it near the heart chakra, and then you set your intention that you want to get rid of this emotion, and then we might put the Kambo close to the area of the heart on the back, and then you might have a more emotional experience. We can also put it on the base of the spine. It really just depends what you're going through. But Kambo, it knows where to go. It scans the body. So although putting it on a certain part of the body can have an effect, it doesn't matter that much. Essentially, wherever you put Kambo on your body, you're always going to get the detox effect, but you might get an additional effect by picking a specific place. Cool. So if you've got questions, you can either type them in.
I think Yossi was next, if I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it possible to take Kambo before or after an ayahuasca session? Yes, actually, it's really good before ayahuasca. If you take it ideally the morning and then you take ayahuasca the same day, it's really, really good. A lot of people say that when they take Kambo before they take ayahuasca, they don't actually purge so much, or they don't purge at all when they take ayahuasca. So it's actually great with any medicine, Kambo, to always do Kambo first to cleanse the body and then to take medicine. It's really good with Iboga as well. Any plant medicine works really well with Kambo.
John.
Hi, John. Do you know if Kambo can help with fibroids? Is that scars, Tam? Is that are you talking about, is it the fibroid scarring? I think it is. I think it's that. It's masses in the uterus. Okay. I'm not that one. I'd have to look it up for you. What I can do though is I can look that up for you, and then I can send you a private message and let you know if that's okay, Tam. Hang on, we're getting lots of questions coming in now. Yeah, Tam. So if you, Dave, what's the best way for me to contact them? We've got emails, yeah. Yeah, we've got your email, so I'll look that up for you, and I'll send you an email with the answer. Right, let's do the rest of the questions. Hi, the microdosing. How many dots are you usually getting? A dot daily, 10 days in full ceremony. So when I microdose, I normally take a very, very small dot a day. So like you make one burn and you put a very, very small amount on, just so you feel it. You feel the effect of the initial effects of the Kambo, but there's no purging. And I've done that before. I've taken it every day for 10 days, and then I did a full purge. But during the full purge, I needed to take a lot more Kambo because you do build up a slight tolerance to it. So if you're going to do a microdosing, then you take it every day for say 10 days, and then when you do the full purge, you're probably going to need to take quite a lot more than you normally would to get the purge effect. Okay, from Yossi, how long is a good time to wait between sessions? It's up to you, really. We have people that come and do it weekly. So I would say if you're starting out, and we always advise people to do it a good few times. So I'd say over 12 weeks, it's good to do it quite a lot to really get it in your system. I would say you can do it weekly quite easily. It's fine to do it weekly. We have, as I said, a lot of people that come to us that take it weekly. You can even do it more than once a week for a while. There's really no limit to it. I mean, there's periods where people do it every day for 3 or 4 days on the trot. So I would say once a week is a good starting point. Another question: any rules? How many dots to apply? I've been taught 3, 5, 7, and somebody told me no rules. If 2, 4, 6 taken, thanks so much. There aren't really any rules. Everybody's different. It's when you come and take Kambo, the first time that we give somebody Kambo, it's really about gauging their purge point. So we always start with 1 point. We make 3 burns for a woman, 5 burns for a man, and we put 1 point on and we watch your reaction. And then from that reaction, depending on how it affects you, we decide how we're gonna go from there. Sometimes I've had men that only need 2 points, and I've had women that end up needing 9 or 10. So everybody's completely different. And so 3, 5, 7 or 2, 4, 6. There's no real rules in numbers. It doesn't really matter. You just find what your point is, what your purge point is, and you go from there. But obviously, the more you do it, the more often you do it, you do build up a tolerance to it, and you do end up needing to take more. So if you're taking it weekly, you might need to increase your dose as you go. Another question, Adam. You mentioned autoimmune diseases. Is it the same with Crohn's disease? Would you recommend it in that case? It can help with Crohn's, but I wouldn't take it during a flare-up. So as long as you're with Crohn's, you can take it, but not if you're having a flare-up. If you're having a flare-up, then you need to let the flare-up calm down before you use it. But I do think it can really help with Crohn's disease. But it's just important that like I said, you don't do it when you're having an episode, because then it can probably aggravate it. Another question. I purge on 3 gates and also on 5 gates. Does it make any difference if the session is very hard or easier regarding the healing? Good question. I find generally if you've got emotional stuff, the session is more difficult. When I do it and it's just a physical purge, it's not pleasant, but it's okay. When I've got emotional stuff to purge, I've had horrendous sessions that have been very, very difficult. And I feel, but that's what I need to do to get rid of it. It's really the emotional component that makes the process difficult. And so you purge on 3 and also on 5. Yeah, I mean, it can be different. For me, myself, my number generally is 7 or 9. Usually, I know if I take 9 for sure, I'm going to purge. Another question.
Guys, before you start, if we get cut off for any minute, it's because we're timing out. Just a quick show of hands. What we could do is straight after this, arrange another webinar, for like 15 minutes. If you've got any more questions you want answered, we can just arrange another. Well, we've got your email addresses. We'll just send you a link to like an invitation.
Well, let's do that. We'll do that. We'll invite you all. If you want to come back on to ask questions, come on. If you don't, then it's not a problem. You can just, you can leave. Dave, are we out of time? Is it going to go any minute?
I don't know. I'm looking somewhere on the screen for a timer.
So it's the first time we've used this software, so we're not sure.
Yeah.
But if it cuts off and I don't see you again, I want to say thank you for, I really appreciate your time for coming on this webinar. I know everybody's busy, and it was a pleasure to be able to talk about this medicine. So I'll just keep going, and if we get cut off, we'll send you all another invitation. If you want to come back on, then come back on. So, questions. How does Kambo work with Iboga? Is it safe to do Kambo before or after full flood of Iboga? Definitely before. Kambo works really well with Iboga. I know a guy, actually, there's a guy called Giovanni, who's really actually in the community, very famous guy who works with Kambo, and he really likes to use it before Iboga. So it's really good to take Kambo in the morning, and then later in the day or in the evening to take Iboga, even if you're going to do a full flood dose. Any experience with visions? I was able to see spirits, animals, and dark negative entities. Me personally, no, but I've when people pass out on Kambo, which can happen, we say that they're journeying with the frog, and people often report blissful states, that when they were passed out, they were in a really blissful, euphoric state, and sometimes there are visions. So it's not something that I've experienced, and it's not something that's very common with Kambo. Kambo is not a psychedelic medicine, but occasionally it can happen. So when people pass out on Kambo, it's not a problem. It's nothing to worry about. You just make sure that they're in a comfortable position. You make sure that they're able to breathe properly, and then you just leave them to it. And like I said, often it can be a really blissful experience. Is it good to do Kambo while I'm microdosing of Iboga daily? That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. Again, I can find out for you. My intuition says no, it won't be a problem, and it probably actually works really well together, I think. But I can find out for you. I can ask Giovanni. Yeah. He'd know. So I can do that for you and Yossi and let you know. So if you have any more questions, feel free to ask, or anything else you'd like to bring up or discuss. Is Noah on?
Yeah, that's I think she's hello.
Oh, there you are.
Hello. Yeah,
so Noah is also a member of the team, and I'm probably, out of anybody that I've ever met, Noah has taken more Kambo than anybody else. So if you do come to one of our circles, you have the pleasure of receiving Kambo from Noah. She's really in touch with the medicine. So Noah's will take, like, I'm trying to think, it's normally about, I think, 18 points, something like that, which is, she'll do a double application, and certainly takes more points than I do. But that's what Noah needs to get the effect.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk a bit like why, like, I personally got involved with it, and it like, me and John have had very. Can you hear me? Am I muted?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
So me and John have got similar backstories of how we got into power medicines and that sort of thing, and a lot of it always stems from pain and trauma. And one of the benefits of doing Kambo is, like John said, he explained during the reset phase, is the purgative effect that it has. And like, where to begin? Like, I have PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, hence my long history of going through countless power medicines, bioenergetic work, trauma release work, every kind of alternative medicinal therapy you can imagine under the sun I've done. And Kambo isn't for me a silver bullet. It hasn't solved all my problems, but it is one alongside other medicines and other therapies that I use regularly to how can I put it? It's almost changed down a gear. If you imagine PTSD is almost like a sliding scale. It's a spectrum, right? And or a depth to it, like a swimming pool, right? And the more severe you have it, it means the more trauma you're carrying in your body. And what John was saying is, like, when you when you carry a lot of dark, heavy, traumatic pain in your body, it's not just up here, it's physically in your body, you know. yeah, it sits physically in your body, like it's stored in your soul, right? And the metaphysical purge that you do on Kambo, it helps, right? It aids clearing of this energetic junk that I'm carrying with me. And it's, yeah, like I said, like my journey is nowhere near finished. Like it may take, from what therapists are telling me, it may take me the rest of my life to clear. But the powerful purge that happens is, yeah, I just think of it like, you know, every single session I do, it's another brick on the wall. It's like I'm kind of building this fortress of I don't know what the word is, of self-healing. Like I'm inch by inch, I'm gradually getting closer. Every time I purge, I'm clearing a bit more of this trauma, clearing a bit more of this junk. And yeah, that's why, like, you know, me and John, again, we both have difficult childhoods, that sort of thing. We talk publicly about that. And power medicines are, I'd say for me personally, it's the only thing that's helped me, like above even proper therapists who sit in an office, who have a leather chair and that sort of thing. Power medicines have helped me more than anything else, man. Yeah.
And I've even seen when Dave did what we call it a 3x3, which where you take Kambo 3 times, one after another. On the final one, Dave purged black liquid, which is very, very rare, but it does happen. So the purge is normally yellow, which is the bile, but you can get lots of different colors. And I'd heard about a black purge, I've never seen it. And it means it's really, really deep stuff coming out, like really, really old, deep stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's happened a few times. It happened once. The first time it happened was when I did the 3x3. Yeah. And then the second time was when I did it on the back of the neck. Like we said, the kind of closer you get to your center line with the application, the more difficult the process it becomes. Right? The closer to the heart, harder, the tougher the experience is going to be. Usually you put Kambo on the legs, you're going to have a smoother ride. Right? As soon as you start going on the shoulder, it becomes harder. Back of the neck.
Yeah, back of the neck's the hardest place.
Yeah, and the second time I purged black was on the back of the neck. And I'm talking, it was coming out like ink. Like it was this color. Oops. No. But like this color. Like it was like tar, like thick. And like you got to think, that's been in my body my whole life. My entire life, that since my childhood, that's been there. So you can only imagine how good like somebody can feel after clearing that like toxic kind of sewage from your kind of biosphere. But I think someone else asked a question.
Yeah. Can somebody die on a very strong dose of Kambo? I guess it's possible. I don't think you die from, I think after a certain point where you're taking a Kambo, you level out. And I think if you just keep putting more and more points on, I think you reach a certain point where it's not going to have the effect. But I think people have died from Kambo, but it's normally when there's a contraindication. Yeah, heart conditions. So, and you said, what are the diseases or medicines that are dangerous with Kambo? It's anything to do with the heart is you can't. So if you've got a pacemaker or anything, or a weak heart, any irregular heartbeat, things like that, you can't take Kambo.
High blood pressure.
Yeah, no, blood pressure's okay. It's not ideal, but we can work with it in a certain way. So we take it very, very slow. So we do it the points one at a time so as not to shock the body too much. But it's really, it's heart conditions. If someone's on chemotherapy, you can't take Kambo. So it's good for cancer, but not once they're on chemotherapy. And then also anything to do with if you've had any kind of organ transplant, then you shouldn't take Kambo, because Kambo is gonna invigorate your immune system. And when you have an organ transplant, they give you immunosuppressant drugs to stop your immune system from attacking the organ. So if you've had some kind of organ transplant, then you can't take Kambo.
Also pregnancy and breastfeeding.
Yeah, that's right. Although I think in the indigenous they do. I think they give it to pregnant women, but it's not something that we do in the West. But yes, breastfeeding also, it's not a good idea, because then it can get into the breast milk.
And you've also seen nutrition.
Yeah, and it can get into the breast milk. But generally, for pretty much everything, Kambo's okay. There aren't many contraindications for Kambo, really. Apart from, I'd say, chemotherapy, heart conditions, organ transplants, pregnant women. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
So yeah, if you've got any more questions or anything you'd like to talk about, then please feel free.
Women usually purge yellow. They purge bile.
Huh?
Pregnant women, they purge bile.
How do you know? Oh, okay. My girlfriend just said to me, Lucia just said that pregnant women purge bile.
It's known.
Okay. That wasn't something I was aware of. But, yeah.
Okay.
Is it good to have a double session? Yes. Double and triple sessions you can do. They're difficult, but really powerful ways to work with the medicine. Go really deep. Get really, really deep healing. Funnily enough, the second and the third application normally aren't that bad, because when you take Kambo, it's the first application, the body resists it, so it's really unpleasant. Then once that's over, and then you put your channels open and you put more Kambo on, it's actually not that bad. It's not as bad as you'd think it would be. But double sessions, triple sessions are powerful, really powerful ways. The medicine works really deep in that respect, and you get the really deep purges that we were talking about with Dave, where you get just the really old stuff coming out. How much treating experience would you need to be able to administer for yourself? I would say not as much as you needed to facilitate for a group. But
we could probably teach you everything in a weekend. Yeah, I'd say like a
couple of days.
2 days we could give you the fundamentals. But it'd be long days. We'd probably have to get you up at 6, 7 in the morning, and it'd be like long days, a lot of course material, a lot of teaching, studying, sitting there taking notes and stuff. But yeah, you could do it in a weekend, and then you'd be safe to do it on yourself, at least. Yeah.
Cool.
Love it. Yeah. Never afraid of hard work.
Yeah.
That's the spirit, soldier.
Yeah.
Just to interest, how many of you are in the UK? Because I know we've got a pretty broad range of followers. How many of you are in the UK or in London? Me?
Yeah, just write in the chat box if you are.
1, 2. Okay.
3, 4.
Okay. That's pretty good. Isn't the mixing camera with right place and then we've got
here in the US? Is it in the UK? Yeah, that's what we do as well. Something I was going to mention in the presentation, but I ended up not having time. We do rapé, and we also do Sananga as well. Sananga's really good at the end to bring you out of it, and rapé either before or after is always good. Yeah, rapé is another amazing medicine. And we also do a rapé meditation as well as a separate thing. As an event, we do a rapé meditation where we invoke the spirit of grandfather tobacco, and then we take tobacco and then meditate on it. So it's very, very powerful medicine.
Yeah. Nobody quite likes using Sananga because it's a stinger. Yeah, it's a stinger, but it really helps with just clearing the end traces of any nausea and bringing you back to planet Earth afterwards, especially if you've had a really tough clearance experience on Kambo. Then Sananga is just kind of Like it's very good at leveling you and almost like grounding you back to bringing you back into the here and now, focusing you here. And yeah,
it also is great for emotional clearing. Sananga, really, really good actually. Often people go, like, if they're able to, they'll cry out, or they might start crying when they take Sananga. It kind of like they get this really pained look on their face, and obviously it stings. So you're going through a painful experience, but it can really clear. It can help to like flush out any stuck negative emotions. But yeah, as Dave said, it does sting, to say the least. It depends how strong the Sananga is.
That's true.
I had an undiluted batch that we took, and and I diluted it 20-1, like 20-1 ratio with water, and it was still like ridiculously strong. So it's it's pretty strong medicine. I've got a feeling, Dave. Something popped up during the thing that said that you're unlimited. I'm not sure exactly what, but I've got a feeling this isn't going to cut off. But
okay, I mean,
because I think we've gone over 40 minutes anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like it was just an alert popped up and said, "Hey, by the way, 10 minutes and you're getting cut off."
And I got an alert saying you're now on unlimited or something like that, like as if you'd purchased it. I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, I bet they've charged me. We'll get an invoice.
Oh no, that could be why. Could be run over. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah. Last question: Kambo and then DMT. Personal experience: DMT is very profoundly strong. Yeah. Yes. Again, very similar to ayahuasca. If you take Kambo and then take DMT or Changa, then you're going to have a very, very good experience. It's something that I've done that. I've worked with myself in that I've taken Kambo in the morning and then worked with Changa later in the day. And yes, wonderful experience. And as I said, Kambo always works amazingly well with most medicines. What do you do to help the users to have a smoother session, such as pressing in the stomach? Okay, another member of the team who's not on this call, called Fiona, she massages the reflexology points on the feet that's for the lymphatic system, and that brings on the purge.
Really good.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. It works like probably 75 to 80% of the time. If someone's struggling to have a purge, she knows just the right points on the feet to massage, and then it comes as well. So that's
it's like magic.
It is like magic. Yeah, it's amazing actually, and something that I think we're going to promote a bit more, because I don't think anybody else is doing that. But okay, should we leave it there? I think so. Those of you that asked me the questions, I will get back to you. I will send you an email with the answers to those questions. Dave, I cut you off. You were going to say something.
No, just for those of you, maybe just a quick show of hands, you could write in the chat box. Those of you who are in the UK, any of you interested in actually training and like, I don't know what your experience level is with Kambo, but maybe working with us and training and learning to be a practitioner. Is there anyone here who's considering that or has considered that? I don't know. No one yet. Okay. Maybe. Sure. Yeah, I mean, if anyone's interested in training, we can arrange another Skype. Yeah, definitely. Or we can just discuss the logistics of it. We're going to start training in September, and we're limiting the first training group to 10 people. So we've had a few people drop out, so we've got a couple of spaces left. So we're just seeing if anyone is interested. We can arrange a Skype and we can discuss it in a bit more detail.
Distance may be a problem.
Distance may be a problem. Family iPhone. Who's that? Family iPhone. Dude with a beard. Where are you from? Maybe, hang on. I can unmute you if you want.
Yeah, okay.
There you go. How you doing, mate?
There we go. Hey, man, how you doing?
Not
I didn't
bad,
even
bro.
know. I thought I closed my video off, man. You've been looking at me eating my dinner.
That's all right. That's all right, mate.
It's all good, man. Yeah, I met Noah a while back, and
Cool.
I'd spoken to her about maybe coming back to London to see you guys. But yeah, it's something I'd be very interested, because down here there is one shaman, but he's very hard to get hold of, and it's something that I think would help me on a regular basis, which is why I was asking about the self-administration.
Excellent.
And also, obviously, the legal status of it as a medicine is much more easy to kind of help other people with than anything else, man. So yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, if you guys want to, you know what I mean, set up something another time, because let's say I come from London originally, so I'll come back every now and again. But it would be, you know, how long it would need to be for, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, with the training, we can. There's a lot to cover. That's the thing. So we can do it in 5 days. Like everyone's different though, man. Because it's
of course,
you got to book time off work, and I know it's a hassle. Everyone's got their roadblocks and the difficulties and challenges that day-to-day life throws at you. But we can squeeze it into 5. Ideally, 7 is better. Like 7 days is more comfortable. Like it's not quite as intense, because like throughout it there'll be like at the end there'll be examination as well. So can I mute John as well? Yeah, so at the end of the 7 days, like throughout the process, you're going to be expected to actually take Kambo as well. So it can be not just mentally challenging, because you've got to learn a lot, but also physically you're going to have to take Kambo and apply Kambo to the other people there as well. So so 7 days ideally, and we're looking, as soon as we lock down the venue, that we're waiting for them to get back to us. As soon as we lock down the venue, we'll be able to tell you dates, but it'll be around the beginning of September. Is that something that's like realistic?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, anything's difficult, man. I've got 3 kids, job, life, renovating a house. So yeah, everything's difficult, but you know, if you don't overcome difficulty, it's not worth it in the first place. So yeah, if you can, I mean, let me know the details. And I don't know how often are you planning on running these training courses?
We'll do the first one in September, then depending on demand, September, October, possibly once a month, if not once every 8 weeks. Like tops 8 weeks. So once every couple of months is realistic.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, for me, that's realistic. Even if I can't make the first one, you know, it's something to go. And to be fair, it would probably be better for me first to experience it, and then.
Have you never done it?
No, I've been meaning to for so long, and like I said, I found a guy down here, but because I knew Noah, I'd rather always do these kind of things through someone that you know that can recommend and can feel safe around. So we'll I'll speak to you guys more, and I've got to link up and chat with Noah again properly.
Yeah, cool. Just arrange it, man. Yeah, come to London on a Sunday. Sundays are usually best.
Okay, you do it Thursday evenings as well, is that right?
Yeah. But whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. Yeah, Sundays is a bit more. It's less of a rush. Okay. I mean, you can do Kambo in the morning while you're fasted. Just wake up, don't have breakfast. And then immediately after the session, you can kind of chill out. We'll go and sit in the park. We'll kind of meditate and stuff, and just kind of come back to planet Earth afterwards.
Yeah, man. I'll be up for that, man. I've got a lot of people as well that I think would be on that as well. So yeah, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate your time, man.
No sweat. What was your name, mate?
Sorry, it's Rob.
Rob. On,
yeah, sorry, I was scrambling around trying to get this app somewhere so I could actually take part in it, and I ended up just using my phone, man. So
no sweat,
it's worked out well, man. But yeah, this is good, man. Thanks for putting this on.
No sweat, man. No sweat. We're happy to help, dude. All right.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much, bro.
Cheers, man. All right. Unmute. All right, John. I mean,
Yep.
Has anyone else got any more questions? I think Yossi, we answered.
Yeah. I would like to have more details on the course. Okay, cool, man.
Yeah.
So we'll send some stuff over to you.
Yeah, cool. So Tam 2020. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah.
Would the training be over 7 consecutive days? Yes, it'll be almost like an immersive residential. We'll hire somewhere. We're looking at venues outside London, so it'll be like a cottage or a country retreat somewhere, and we'll put on like all the food will be covered within the cost of the training. The food will be covered, the accommodation. You'll have to arrange your own transport to get there, but it'll be 7 days immersive. And then what we recommend afterwards, it might be difficult for Rob because he's not based in London, but for those of you who are based in London, if you can make it, what we say is like included within the cost is like an 8-week apprenticeship where you actually come to the ceremonies on Sunday and you shadow the lead practitioners, and it's like hands-on learning. We'll get you to actually immersively be surrounded by the Kambo experience and get used to applying points, learning the purge points of different people, that sort of thing. So it's a more hands-on learning experience that follows on afterwards. But again, maybe with people who are based outside London, maybe they can travel in. I'm sure we could try and arrange some sort of accommodation, but it'd be really helpful as a learning tool to take full advantage of those 8 weeks, so that at the end of it, not only have you got all this knowledge ingrained in you, but you've had the practical hands-on experience of running a circle. You'll know the kind of the do's and don'ts, and the importance of having helpers and assistants to give you a hand emptying buckets, all this sort of things. There's a lot of nuances to running this kind of operation. And then, I mean, at the end of it, it's totally up to you guys what you do with this skill set. You could maybe start your own business. You could have a side income. This could be a second, alongside your regular job. This could be I don't know. You could quit your job. Yeah, you could quit your job, be financially free. You could travel, be your own boss. I mean, this is one of the benefits of doing Kambo as a profession, is a lifestyle. Like
something else that we'd offer as well, although we haven't finalised the details yet, is you'd be able to use the Planet Kambo brand. Essentially, you become like a Planet Kambo practitioner, and then you can be listed on our website as a practitioner. You get to use the brand. We can supply you with sticks. Yeah. So essentially, we can help you set it up.
Yeah. So, like, to dig into that a bit deeper, if you were interested in training, what we do is essentially we would kit you up. We give the uniforms. We cover all the overheads, everything, and in return, then we would take a percentage of the ticket sales that you make. And that way, I mean, like, we can promote it and everything. Like, we do the graphic design, making all the social content. Like, we would do we would handle the business side of it for you, so that essentially all you're doing is turning up and running the ceremonies without the kind of headache of having to build a company on the back end of it. But again, everybody's different. Not everybody wants a business out of this. Some people just want to be able to heal themselves, heal their family, heal their friends, and just have an extra string to their bow. Just something that can maybe bring in a few £100 or a couple of grand over the course of a summer. Everybody's different, but if this is something you maybe want to take a bit more seriously and consider it as your next career path, then I mean, it's totally up to you how you apply this skill set and which direction you want to take your life, man. So, yeah. I mean, let's check here. Any more questions?
No, I don't think so.
Can you share this webinar recording? Yeah, absolutely. We're recording it right now. So what we'll do, I'm not sure if we'll share it on the page. I don't know, but we've got your email addresses, so we can. We'll just send you. We'll send you the recording. It might be a bit of a big file size.
If we don't share it publicly, then we can just send it via WeTransfer or something like that.
Yeah. Or we could host it. What we could do is we could host it on the website and then send people a link. As long as you all promise not to share it around. This is our IP, our intellectual property. So,
and if any of you guys ever have a question, just drop us an email at info@planetkambo.com. And both Dave and I check that email regularly, so one of us will reply to you. So we're always here if you need to talk. If you want any questions come up after the session or whatever, it's fine.
Cool. Let me see. Okay, I think.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's everything, right? Wicked. Well, yeah. John, do you want to tie things up?
Yeah. So thanks everybody for being on the webinar. It was great. Lovely to talk about Kambo and see your happy, smiling faces. And I hope to hopefully see some of you at a circle or see you at training and or see you on another webinar. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
Yossi, take it easy. Rob, take it easy. Tam 2020, take it easy as well. Rock out. All right. See you later, guys. We'll send you the webinar.
Yeah.
Peace.